Hey friends out there in YouTube land, Rob here today. I want to talk about microphones, wireless mics specifically. I got a comment on a YouTube video that I did that has like millions of views, right? No, not really. It's about this VS09 TC, which is a microphone made to plug into your cell phone through the USB-C port or the Lightning port on your Apple device. And Comica sent this to me to review maybe 6 or 8 months ago. I didn't think it was really worth that much, to be honest with you. As a $30 add-on, I think you'd be better off recording with what I'm recording with right now, which is a lavalier mic that's on a cable connected to my shirt just out of the frame that you can't see. You can see it now. And that will give you much better image, or that'll give you much better sound quality than this on your phone held at arm's length. And the question came up on that video, hey, thanks for your tip. It says it right here. Ted Jung, hey, thanks for your response. Really appreciate it. Tell me, you mentioned at the end of the video that you'd be better off getting a lavalier or a wireless system instead. Can you recommend one for me to use? Well, actually, I can. I can give you a lot of recommendations. I've used a lot of different wireless systems. But if you're really interested in learning about audio, Curtis Judd on YouTube is the one to go to. It's just that simple. But here are my suggestions, the different pieces of audio that I've used. And it does not have anything to do with this. First, let's talk about what I thought audio was years ago, 10 years ago, when I started filming. Now, I've been photographing things for years, but ever since I was 8 or 9 with my first Minolta AF 35mm camera. But when I was in high school and on the theater department and working the soundboards and doing all this other stuff, I'm not afraid to admit that I didn't really understand sound very well. I didn't understand soundboards. And that continued through even when I began photographing. You don't use too many audio microphones when you photograph. But then when I began making wedding videos, when I first started dabbling in it, which was over a decade ago, I did not add it to my service property at that time, but I was playing with it so I could learn how to do it. I thought that a shotgun microphone was like a telephoto zoom lens. And I think many people have that same thought. Now, I know different now, but you cannot zoom sound. Even though they do have audio zoom features on different digital cameras and stuff like that, it's not really a sound zoom. It's a focusing of the channel in order to amplify specific harmonics and wavelength that you can hear better there, but it's all digital. It's not real. For sound, you need something that can actually capture the sound, and that's a microphone. And there's several different types. We're not going to worry about that. Most of the ones we're going to talk about are going to be condenser microphones that use some form of battery power. There are dynamic microphones that don't use battery power, that just operate based off of the reverberations of the membrane and the sound pressure wave that comes through that creates that signal. And then that needs to be amplified. They're way different things. But to start off, no, sound does not zoom with a shotgun microphone. All a shotgun microphone does is have a microphone capsule at the end of a long tube. And that end of the long tube, at the very end of it, is the microphone capsule. And these ballasts right here and the screen inside are placed in such a way as to cancel 180 degrees, phase cancel the noise or the sound that's coming in off axis. So what that does is it helps keep that sound that would be off the straight in area of the microphone from interfering with the microphone. And it does do that through a wave cancellation process. It's all whatever that is, particle physics, is all physics of some sort. In any event, that's how these work. They don't zoom anything. And the reason that you get better sound with a shotgun microphone is because it's actually focusing the sound from a small area, a physical area though, in the direction that it's pointed. And it's rejecting much off-axis sound. Microphones have a polar pattern where they receive sound in different patterns, cardioid, subpolar, superchord, all these different shapes that tell you how the microphone is going to pick up sound. This is important because you'll need to know how you're going to use your microphone in order to know what kind of microphone to get. This microphone was one of the first pieces of equipment that I purchased years ago. As a kid, believe it or not, I got 2 of these kits. Right, the XM55 kit. I got them from B&H, and they were like $50. And it came with the shotgun microphone, a pretty poor quality shotgun microphone, by the way. powered as well as this lavalier microphone that's in here. Now, when I bought these, I actually bought them because I wanted a wired lavalier mic, and I had a different audio recorder that I was using than this at the time, and I would put this in the groom's pocket. But then he had a 20-foot lavalier that was wound up in there as well. But it didn't matter, it's what I had, so it's what I used. And then I used these shotgun mics, which would be terrible for trying to record a wedding on a beach, because you couldn't get them close enough and have them disguised. I used them for recording indoors, spoken piece to cameras like this, and it was really great. They worked well for that. I say that they're not very good quality because, well, you get what you pay for in audio. And really, in everything that I have found, the middle of the road is generally the best bang for the buck. You can buy $1,000, $2,000 microphones, shotgun microphones that sound great, low noise floors, no hiss, really good for people's voices, but you can get just as good a quality as that, or at least as good of sounding quality to your audience for most people through a cheap $20 lavalier that's connected to the camera through a wire. Good sound requires placement to the audio source more than it is hardware. And that's kind of like the little unknown secret. As we continue this, I promise there's going to be some recommendations at the end of this. But I'm trying to give you a little bit of an education or a little bit of a journey, right? So this is a story as much as it is info. Sound recorders. I got the H5 and I had the H4 in the H5. I really like the H1. This is great. This is probably one of my favorite audio recorders. I like it's got an XY pattern, or it's got an X pattern right here. 90-degree separation, stereo separation. Really nice record rates, 24 bits up to 96 kilohertz with a safety track. It's got a lot of cool things, and it has a tone generator built into it, so you can generate a tone to set all of your devices to unity. Really cool. So when I picked up this recorder, I was recording in better high quality recordings than I was with my original Sony PXW or one of those just clip-on recorders. But when we think about what kind of a microphone to get other than this TC09, this is pretty small. And if you're considering this, you're probably thinking about using your cell phone. Well, I'm going to jump ahead and I'm going to share with you my actual suggestion. This is what I would say get. If you have a budget and if you're looking for this stuff, this is what you should go get. If you're considering making videos on your phone, friends, I've done that. I've got the Galaxy Z Fold 2 here. I got started on YouTube making videos on my phone. Not this one, other Galaxies. The Galaxy S7 Edge was one of the first videos I made about the phone, using someone else's phone to record the video, and you can probably find it. I then made videos about how to get started in micro stock photography with the Galaxy S7 Edge and showed how to take photos and upload them so that you could get paid for your work. The problem with using your phone that I have isn't that they're not capable. Oh man, they're capable, especially the iPhone 10-bit recording. It's that when you're using one of these phones, you're holding, in the case of an iPhone Pro Max, a $1,300 device or a $2,000 device in your hand to go take pictures with. You might say, well, yeah, you do that with a camera all the time. And I'd say you're right. But this is made to be held. It's got a grip. It's ergonomically designed for photos and videos. That's what its job is. Your phone's job isn't that. And then when you start dangling stuff on the side of it, well, it just becomes precarious. If I drop my camera, it's no fun, right? Because the camera could break. But if I drop my phone, it could be an emergency, right? Because people might need to get a hold of me. It could be really bad. So I don't like to use my phone. Although it's a great place to start if that's all you've got. Just do it wisely. So moving on, if you're going to do anything, my suggestion, actually, if you're considering this item, like phone photography, get the DJI Pocket 2. Now, I held off on the DJI Pocket series of cameras because I had all these other cameras. I was wrong. This thing right here, the Pocket 2 specifically, is excellent. The ergonomics work well. I thought that this little created handle, I was like, why do I have to add this to it? It's such a nice extra grip to hold. It's ergonomic. It's stabilized. It's got a wide lens, 20 millimeters, like a 93-degree field of view. Really wide. It's nice. The image quality is excellent. And it's got a built-in wireless microphone that you can just clip onto your shirt and go. But even more so than that, the microphone itself has a lavalier port, has a headphone jack so that you can put a microphone into it. So you can use a lavalier with it, and it's wireless. So there's nothing hanging off of it. Now you don't have your expensive phone out doing anything. If you did need a second shot, now you have a phone for a second shot for whatever purpose. I don't know that you would, but if you needed two cameras, now you've got two. And this is stabilized and the image looks great. It's got a lot of features, and it's probably a better camera than most of your cell phone cameras are. 64 megapixels, a 1/1.7 inch sensor. This is a very capable camera, both for photos and for video. DJI just talks about it for video mostly, but it's a really great 64 megapixel camera. Really nice. Okay, so that would be my suggestion right off the bat. The Creator Combo, it's around $500. You get the camera, the pocket, you get the thumbstick, you get the do-it-all handle for your wireless microphone, you get the wireless microphone, you get connections, which I haven't taken out, but they're in here. You can see them for the different devices you might want to use. If you wanted to plug it into your phone to have a big screen, you could. But if you wanted to use them separately, you could as well. I know that negates one of the benefits I said of using this, but that just means that this is a fit-to-mission device. It's multitaskable, so you can put it to your phone. I can connect this using one of those connectors to my Galaxy Z Fold 2, just like this, right? And now I have a huge screen to look at what I'm doing. It's just kind of cool. I don't do that, though, for the reasons I said before. And it comes with a little tripod. It's around $499, $500. If you're thinking about getting into making videos and unboxings or vlogs or anything like that, this is the way to go. I would suggest that over many different cameras. Unless you knew you wanted to focus on photography, like digital interchangeable lens photography as directly as video, then I would suggest getting this camera. If you knew you wanted to do photos, I would get maybe something like an X-T3, maybe even X-T2, X Pro 1. I love Fujifilm. I really like shooting with them. Go with a Sony A7R II. If you could pick one of those up, they've been discontinued. That's a fabulous camera. A7 III, but we're getting into thousands of dollars now. But I also have these great ND filters that go along with it from FieldWorld, specifically for the pocket, wide angle, as well as for the standard lens with ND filters. It's really cool. So there you go. But if you wanted to keep the conversation going about microphones, right, then I would suggest looking at things like this. This is the Comica Boom XD series. You get solos. You can get one mic and one receiver, so one transmitter and one receiver, or you can get two transmitters and one receiver that receives both transmitters. One plugs into your camera or whatever device you want it to. It's got a headphone jack, or you can get them that plug in via USB-C or Lightning if you want to focus using your phone. And you can have one or two guests speaking wirelessly. These also come with a set of lavaliers microphones. So the connection just plugs in like we saw earlier. And it has a locking device, which just snaps onto the plug, but it helps keep it in. They've got LCD screens on the front, which is really nice, which allows you to be able to see what you're doing. You can monitor from the device, as well as from the receiver, you can turn the levels up and down. It's really cool. And I like them for that. They don't work well outside at distance that I would use for weddings. They just don't. The reason is they're 10 microwatts, milliwatts. They're really low powered. The DJI microphone is actually 50 microwatts or milliwatts. The smaller of the two, sorry, I don't remember right now. And their new DJI mic that's coming out is 100 microwatts or milliwatts. That's an industry standard. The Deity Systems, their wireless transmitter, which is in the thousands of dollars, which transmits and records, allows you to go up to 100 micro or milliwatts output power. The Pico mic, which I was looking at getting into prior to COVID, they shut down. It's made out of France, from what I believe, or maybe it's Italy. they transmit up to 50 micro or milliwatts. I forget which ones. I'm going to keep saying it because someone will not hear my disclaimer earlier that I don't recall. The more is the better. Or you have to have better technology. Here are the Sennheiser XSWD series. This is a locking Sennheiser microphone transmitter. And this is an XLR, 3-pin XLR full-size receiver. They pair together just as easy as a cable. In fact, that's Sennheiser's discussion for this, just like a cable. And I have found them to be as reliable as a cable. I can get quite a bit further outdoors with these being wireless than I can with the Comica. All of these systems operate over 2.4 gigahertz, and that's a thing because, well, everything operates over 2.4 gigahertz. Your phone does, your routers do, your printers do, wireless devices. It's an unlicensed band that's allowed for use in most countries, which means that you can use these mics anywhere, right? Without a license. Believe it or not, UHF and VHF microphones have certain restrictions for different areas of the world and different locations and different sites. I have been using microphones on military bases where they specifically asked me for a wedding at the chapel if I was going to be operating on particular bands that were disallowed, right? No, that was because they're UHF and VHF bands and it just wasn't allowed. So the 2.4 gigahertz system is very versatile. All of the ones we've talked about so far, the DJI, the Sennheiser, and the Comica, are all the 2.4 system, even the Pico Mic and the Deity systems. Deity is awesome, by the way. You pay for what you get, but you're getting a serious thing. But the difference is the software that runs it, right? And so Sennheiser just happens to have a better software, in my opinion, than Comica does for their XD series because I get a further range on the Sennheiser and I don't have as many dropouts. And they're using the same output power. It's crazy, right? When you look at those, you could just as easily go with something wired. Here's a microphone. This is a dynamic mic, which means your voice operates it, no battery power required, and the cord. But if you do that, then you have to have the mic go into something. Now, if it's an XLR, you're going to need an XLR input or an adapter of some sort. And here is a Zoom H6. I love this. I've got 6 total inputs when I use the 2 XLR adapter for the top. I've got different microphone capsules that I can put on here. I can switch out if I would like. Here's a microphone capsule, right? The Zoom allows me to put these on in place of XLRs, right? And then I can do a lot of stuff with it. There's a lot of control. There's a lot of power in the recording formats. But this is something that's getting quite a bit more technical. Although you would want to record here as well, you could monitor, but in order to synchronize with your video, you would need to run your audio into your camera or synchronize your audio in post, which is not difficult. People think it is. For some reason, it's not. In fact, if you just wanted to get away with the best $100 system that's out there, you could put this in your pocket, talk, make sure that your camera was recording sound, and you just sync it in post later. Heck, you could even sync it in something like KineMaster, Cinemaster, however you want to see it, for Android, and iMovie for your iPad or your iPhone. If you were worried about synchronizing it, you could do a clap at the beginning and a clap at the end of your clips, and then you could line those up easier just visually. I think there's a lot of things to consider here. Budget is one of them. Again, when talking about video, that this question came about, was talking about video with a microphone that would be used for a cell phone recording. Well, my suggestion there would be to ditch the cell phone recording and get the Pocket 2 with the creator handle. $500 and you've got a serious kit to start your YouTube channel, unboxings, make movies, short films, long, whatever you want to do with it, you can do with that thing. Your footage is going to be stabilized. It's a bigger sensor than your cell phone. Remember, the question was about whether or not they should use this mic for a cell phone, so the person plans on making a cell phone video. And even if they can't start out by getting it because your budget's not there, by the time you get into it, even if you have to buy one used, you've got a bigger sensor on that DJI Pocket 2 than what's in your cell phone. It's the biggest sensor that's out there right now, other than like the Huawei P40 Pro. It's got the same size sensor, 64 megapixels and 1/1.7. I mean, it's got a great sensor with wonderful dynamic range. And from there, if you were going to continue, if the budget was the issue, don't even worry about that. Just get yourself a Zoom H1N. Get a black or a white one or a red one. Put yourself a little fuzzy over top of it. I got a fuzzy somewhere. And then talk into it while you're making your video. You could have it close to you. If you were worried about that, then get yourself a little microphone, a little lavalier for $20, plug into it, and then put it down here on your shirt and call it even. There's a lot of things to consider when it does that. Then sync in post. If you're worried about syncing in post, and you're using your iPhone or your Android phone, you plug this in, and then you use the line out. We got line in. Yeah, there we go. Line in and headphone out. So you'd want to put your line in for your microphone, because it's line or mic, right? And then your headphone out jack would go to your cell phone with just a breakout cable, like your, headphone jack out to USB-C or Apple, Lightning. And then all of your audio would be synced. If you are using an iPhone or a Galaxy device, just get some earbuds too. You could get some buds. You could get the iPad earbuds Pro, and you could get some Galaxy buds. You could get the Google. Anyone would work. They will sync wirelessly with it, and they will pick up your voice, and they've got noise canceling built into them. Around $300. But I would suggest not doing any of that and go with the Pocket. Otherwise, you're going to look at a form factor like this. Yeah, there we go. There's the Comica plugged in right there. That's how I usually make videos here. With a monitor on top, even without a monitor. Then if you're hand holding it or putting it down, how are you going to travel and walk with it? Well, if you're not going to do that, you're going to need some kind of stabilization, so you need a gimbal. I say forget all that. I say if you're just getting into videos, I think $500 is the best investment that you can make. You can carry this with you everywhere. People don't look at you crazy when you have it. You can put it on oh man, we didn't even talk about the shots. It's a stabilized gimbal, right? I can put this on my 3-meter selfie stick that I have for taking 360 videos, and it looks like a drone's flying in the sky because it's stabilized. I can do crane shots, dolly zooms, all kinds of, dolly zooms in the idea that I zoom out. I move forward while I'm zooming out, or move out while I'm moving forward, but that's a post-production thing. Anyway, you can do all of that stuff with this because it's a small form factor. So you're going to have a lot more creativity with something like that. No, the ISO isn't going to be as good as on your full frame camera, but it will be better than anything in your pocket. It'll be better than any cell phone that you got. So I just think there's a lot to consider there. That's going to be all I have to say about that. My suggestions are there. Get the Pocket 2. Consider a post-production workflow with a microphone and a recorder. Or get a Comica. They'll all work well. You can get the Sennheiser as well. I just don't think these work. I don't like their form factor for cell phones. They're really great because of the XLR to plug into my audio handles on all my camcorders. But as you see over here, I do not use them with a regular headphone or mic input because I just don't like how they sit on there. So guys, that's been it. I hope that you have enjoyed this commentary today. Please let me know what you think down in the comments below. My name is Rob. If you found this video helpful, please don't forget to like and subscribe and use the Amazon links down below. Really appreciate that. It helps out a lot. I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Bye for now.